Hello everyone. In this session, we'll be talking about the different date functions available in Tableau. So Tableau provides a range of date functions that allows you to work with the date and time data in your visualization and calculations. Here are some of the most commonly used date functions. The first one is the date add, the second is the date diff, then date name, date part, date trunk, day is date, make date time, make time, max, min, month, now, today, and year. So let's look at them one by one. So let's say if you have a date type of column and you want to extract the day out of, let's say if the date is 1st January 1994 and you want to extract only the first part, that is the day part. So you will be using the day function. If you want to extract the month, that is January, you would use this function. So whatever month would be consisting of that date would be extracted January, February, March, and that would be the value provided. If you want to extract the year, you would be using the year function. So the syntax for this is you have to provide the date inside of this year. Remember that whenever you are passing any kind of date, it should be very important that that particular column is recognized as date. Else it would give you an error and it would not be able to extract the date out. The next is the date difference. So this date difference works when you want to find out what is the difference between two dates. Let's say if you are working with an e-commerce platform that takes on some orders and then ships it. So whatever time is required by that e-commerce platform to ship each product, that can be found out with the help of date difference. It can be used as the shipping date minus the order date, and that would give you what is the amount of time it takes to ship a particular order. You can also specify the start of. So let's say if your week starts with the Sunday or Monday, you can do it with the help of providing this start of week option. And this is purely optional. So in case if you want to skip it, you can also skip it. Then we have the date part option. This is useful if you want to get the integer part of any date. Let's say that the date is 1st of January again 1994, and if you want to extract the 1994 out of it, so you can use this function and you can extract that, and that part would be extracted in the form of integer. Then we have the date add function. This date add function is used when you want to add an interval to any particular date. Let's say you are working on as a project manager and all the works have been delayed by 5 days. If you want to add the 5 days interval to every date, you would be using this date add function, and this would add the 5 days to every task. Then we have the date trunk function. So this is used when you want to truncate the date or make it short. So you will be using this kind of function. Then there is this date name function. This function is used whenever you want to give the output in the form of a string. So let's say if you have a date and you want to give the output in the form of a string, you would be using this function. Then we have the make date function. Make date function is basically used when you want to provide it with the year, month, and day, and you want it to make any date for out of it. So we know that whenever we want to create any date, the three things that are important is the day, the second one is the month, and the last one is the year. The help of which a date is formed. These are basic elements of the date. So the make date function requires all these functions and it would create a date for it. Then we have the make time function. This is essentially a time type data. So if you want to make a time, then you have to give these values. So why are these make date and make time functions useful? Let's say if you are providing a reference point to your data, you would be using this make date function. This would help you to provide that particular reference point. Let's say I want to find out what is the sales that is happening throughout the year, and I have given the starting point as 1st March. So that 1st March starting point, I'm not having it inside of my data. So I can create it with the help of make date function. Similarly, if you want to give a time reference to any part of data, so you would be using the make time function, and this would be making the time for it. The 11th one is the now function. So if you want to see what is the present date and time, you would be using the now function. So this is basically the timestamp of that particular moment. Then we have the today function. This today function would be giving you the today's date. So what is the difference between now function and today function? The basic difference between them is that now function was giving you the time as well, while today gives you only the date. The 13th is the max function. We have already seen the max function when you were talking about the string functions as well as the number functions. In date function, max function would be useful when you want to find out which is the maximum amount of two dates. So let's say if you are comparing the date birth rates of two people and you don't know how to calculate that. So you'd be using the max function and it would reflect only the maximum. If you want to find out the minimum out of two dates, you would be using the minimum function. The syntax for that is using the minimum function and providing the first and second date inside the brackets. And this would give you the result as the minimum value. The similar part where we were talking about how to extract the day and month from a particular date, if you want to extract the year out of any date, you would be using this year function, and this would extract the year as the whole number. So this was all for the date function. Let's go to the Tableau screen and see how these functions work in Tableau. I'm in my Tableau screen where we are working with a global superstore dataset. Here, for the date function to apply, I have two columns that consist of that date function. The first one is the order date function and the second one is the shipping date function. Both these data type consist of some dates and the dates range from the year 2011 to 2015. Now let's see how we can create different kind of dates with the help of these functions. So to create the first calculated date, what I'll do is I'll click on this arrow and I'll go in the create calculated field option. Over here in the drop down, you can see I have this date option. With the help of this date option, I can find out the multiple functions that are available for the date type data. The first one is the date add function. So let's say I want to add some interval to my dates. So first I close this part and I try to show you the order dates. What are the exact order dates? So let me click on the order date, and here instead of the year, I want to see it in the form of month. Or let's say I want to see the exact date. I don't want to see it column way. I want to see it in the row wise. And here, instead of the continuous value, let's keep it the discrete value. So here I can see the order dates. Whatever order date is over here for the first order and whatever order date for the last order, everything is shown over here. Now you want to add a specific interval to these dates. Let's say you want to add 2 months to every order. How would you do that? So you'll go in the create calculated field. Over here, you will choose this date option and you will use date add function. Here, the function's name could be month addition or date add test. I can give it as the date add test. Date add test. In the date add function, it requires you to give the date part, interval, and date. In the date part, you have to provide with the help of strings in which part do you want to add that date. So if I want to add the date in the month part, in the quotes, I can list month, comma, how much interval do you want to add it? So I want to give the interval of 2. So it would add 2 months to my data. And then in the date part, it would ask you what is the date part in which you want to add these things. So I know the column order date consists of the multiple dates in my data set. So now I have made this calculation. This calculation is even valid, and I will see how this is affecting my data set. As I already told you, here you have to provide the date part. So if you want to give it as year, you can write year over here. And even if you want to add the interval to day, you can write day over here. Click on apply. Okay. Over here, date at test is ready for us. So I'll drag and drop it over here. Okay. It is showing me the value in the form of years. Let's convert it in the form of exact date. Give it some time to calculate, and then I want to see the discrete values instead of the continuous value. Let's switch to the discrete values to see the values just in the form of the order date that we created. So you can see over here now it has added some dates. It is also giving me the timestamp, but that is not important for now. You can see that the January's data has been added 2 months and now it's March data. So whatever data was over here, the months I can see every month has been added with 2 months. So the third month is now the fifth month. The fourth month is now the sixth month. So in this way, you can try to add different kind of intervals to your dates. This can also be done with shipping dates since that is also a date kind of column. Let me clean the screen. Now, let's say you want to find the difference out of those two dates. So let me control Z and let's say I want to find the difference out of what is the difference between these two dates. Now I already know that for now, the difference is of 2 months. Why am I saying this? Because I have created this and I give the interval as 2. What if I was not knowing it? I have to go in the create calculated field option. I have to choose the date option from over here, and here I choose the date difference. Here it would ask you what is the date part? What is the particular date part that you see the difference of? So I am giving the date part as month, comma. What is the starting date and what is the end date? So let me give the starting date as the newly created calculated field. That was the date add. So this is the date add, and the end date I want to keep it as the order date because this was the one in which I added the interval. So let's say I will name it as the date difference test. I'll click on apply, okay, and I'll drag and drop it over here. Since the value is coming in the form of sum, I try to convert it in the attributes, and also instead of the continuous value, let's keep the discrete value. So you can see it is giving me the value as -2. Now what it is doing is it is subtracting one value from other value. For now, it is trying to subtract the order date from date at test. That's why the value is coming as -2. If you want to convert it into the positive value, you need to be careful about what is the value that is coming first in the subtraction. So here again, I'll go in the date difference test. I can click on over here. I can click on edit. And this time, instead of the date I test and order date, I'll switch on the places. So I'll keep it as order date and then data test, and this data test I can remove from my list. Click on apply, okay, and you can see this now that the number has been changed to the positive numbers. So now it is subtracting both of these dates and it is giving me the interval as the positive 2. It means there is the 2 month difference between these two dates. Now, what if you want to extract a particular month, day, or year from my date? How would you do that? So for that, what I'll do is I'll clean up my screen a bit and I'm just keeping this order date for now. Let's say from this order date, I want to extract the day first. I have to go in the calculated fields option, create a calculated field for the date. Here I'll choose the day option. It would ask me what is the date. I'll say I want to extract the order date. And here I can write the calculated field as the day test. And when you drag and drop it in the row shelf, since it is a number, again I have to convert it in the discrete value and I have to choose the attribute. And you can see now the day has been extracted. So whatever days were present over here from day 1st to day 31st, these all have been extracted. Now in the similar way, let us try to extract the month and year also. So again, I click on this arrow, click on the create calculated field, switch to date, and this time I'm choosing the month option. In month, I'm giving the date as order date. And over here, I'll write month test. Again, drag and drop this value and change it from continuous to discrete and sum to attribute. And you can see the month has been extracted. Let's remove this day from over here. Let's keep the month for now. You can see whatever month is coming in the order date has been extracted. Now I want to extract the year in the same way. So again, go in this create calculated field, choose date, choose year option this time. And in the date, I can give the order date. Here in the calculation name, I can give it the name year test. If you drag and drop it again, find out that this is a numerical value. So I have to convert it in the discrete and the attribute. And the date has been extracted. So whatever year was coming over here has been extracted and it is extracted in the form of the whole number. So from 2011 to 2014, every date that was present in this data set has been extracted year wise. So in this way, you can try to extract the different elements of date. You can try to add some dates. You can try to remove some dates if you want to add any simple interval to your date. You can also do it. So these were few of the functions that we used in the date function. There are multiple other functions also that you can try and see what difference it is making to your dates and time. Thank you.